Hey everyone, this is Aaron. I just wanted to come in before the show starts and say we were having massive technical difficulties during the recording of this episode, so that's why Josh's audio sounds a little bit less crisp. We had to use our backup, so sorry about that. Anyways, this is still a club banger of an episode. I can't wait for you to listen to it. Have a good time. See ya.
And literally is masturbating while Jesus is watching on the crucifix. And I love that there's this very, 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 very clear imagery about Jesus literally watching her.
I mean, he's hot.
Is that the take we want to put in this podcast? Are we sure about this?
That I think Jesus could get it? Yes.
All right.
Jesus of Nazareth, pull up.
Can't wait to edit this one out.
Welcome to Bible Boys, a podcast where two ex-evangelical siblings and an ex-Catholic non-sibling watch Christian media and either praise or condemn it. I'm Aaron.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Michael.
And this week, we tackle Catholic youth retreats as we watch Yes, God, Yes. Before we order wine coolers at our local dive bars, please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, like and comment on our video, and follow us on Twitter at The Bible Boys.
Lesbian dive bars.
Yes, I unfortunately did not pick up on that until much later.
There was a pride flag behind the bar.
Aaron is the stereotype of the cishet guy that goes into a gay bar and goes, "Everyone's so friendly here."
You're joking, but I could see myself doing that. I'm a dummy. I don't pick up on context clues. Michael, you picked this movie because of our good friend Jeff. Is that correct?
Yes. So Jeff actually sent me a link to the trailer of this like months ago, probably close to when it originally came out. And I've been sitting on it. I kind of forgot about it. And then this week, something just popped into my head. Hey, I want to watch that movie. So here we are. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
If you all remember, Jeff was on our very, very gay Latter Days episode.
Yeah, Michael, do you want to take us through this plot, and we'll talk about Natalia Dyer's, bad time at a retreat?
Yeah. So I think it's important to start at the top, and that is with the definition of tossing a salad, because that's how we open this film. Which one of you boys would like to take away this definition for our loyal audience?
I think it should be Aaron.
Of course you do.
Is that because you think that I know exactly what the movie says, or is that because you think I don't know what tossing a salad means and that I learned that definition through this movie?
I think it means I want to hear you say the words of what tossing a salad means. I think the audience expects me to say it.
Yeah, so I actually learned what tossing a salad is from Nikki Minaj.
Hey, that's where I learned what mac and cheese my swordfish meant.
Okay. I don't know what that is, and I actually don't think I'm old enough to know.
I was not ready for that.
Nicki Minaj is on another level. In the words of this movie, it means when you lick someone's butthole.
That is the definition. And that is what we open with. So we already know what kind of film this is going to be.
I just have to take a quick second on the Wikipedia. If you click on, because it has that in blue, the sentence toss salad. And if you click on it, it sends you to the Wikipedia article for analingus.
Of course it does. That's what it's called.
And the term analingus entered English in what year do you two believe?
Maybe the 60s?
1825.
Such different answers.
Very different answers.
You're both wrong. Aaron's somehow closer. 1899.
Oh, okay.
Listen, the 19th century was freaky.
Yeah, man. Those people were too scared to say chicken breast, but you know what? They loved eating ass.
So much that they had to make a word for it. So I feel like I have to also say the New York Times, their little webpage description, not in their actual review, but in the typed up webpage description, calls this a masturbation comedy. And I didn't know that was a genre.
If you had to have me guess what a masturbation comedy was, this would not be what it would be. It would be the Lemon Whore.
So this is actually all based on the director, Karen Maine, who this is her directorial debut. It's all based on her childhood and her own experiences in Catholic school, which she went to for 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, I did CCD for like 8 years and high school for 4 years, but that is a long, long time to be in Catholic school.
1 year is too much.
I liked high school. I had an all right time.
I had 1 year of religious education, and it didn't stick.
It broke both the school and our parents.
But not me.
No, you came out of that fine. You're like, I'll take another one out.
So the opening song is also important to note because it's Blood of the Lamb, which I think is just such a perfect, like, it is almost like too evangelical to open with that song, but I'm very here for it. It took me back.
The song choices in this movie are pretty good, in my opinion. They especially fit the era of like mid 2000s that I think is really good.
There were a couple times when I heard a song, I was like, "This throws me back," and also I am imagining Aaron just bopping to this.
There is definitely a song in here that is on my like best number one Catholic songs. So,
oh, that's amazing. This movie is set in 2000, and I think that's important because some of the references we make are going to be things like AOL chat rooms. So I think it's important to...
Or analingus.
I don't know that that's exactly a phrase from 20 years ago. I think everyone gets that one. But AOL chat rooms, less so. So we open with after we get Blood of the Lamb and tossing a salad definition, we meet Alice. So Alice is a junior at a Catholic high school, and she meets Father Murphy. Well, we meet Father Murphy, who is, if you've seen Veep, played by Jonah Ryan. So I love a character based off of Ted fucking Cruz playing a priest in this. It's my favorite.
I hate that Veep is the most accurate political television that has ever been created.
Real stories from the Hill. So Father Murphy is teaching a morality class. I have thoughts on that. And basically he's saying any sex that is not about procreation is an eternal sin and you will be damned to hell. So it is bad. And of course, that also means masturbation. Out
of curiosity, do you think if I accidentally got a vasectomy and I forgot it because I have a bad memory, then I'm good? And I'm
Probably
like, man,
not.
I just want to make a baby, but it's just not happening. I don't know why.
If you were of sound mind when you got the vasectomy, you would not be good.
Aaron, you've known me for over a year now. At any point in our friendship, would you say I was in a sound mind?
Listen, I don't want to make judgments about your mental aptitude. I'm just saying, from a Catholic standpoint, you're not good.
Damn it.
Yeah, sorry about it. And their entire sex ed is all about abstinence before marriage, sex is procreation, and I feel so much for Alice. This is such a shitty lesson, and it's going to lead into a little about what we talk about.
I also, again, I don't mean to keep derailing us before we get into the plot of it. Watching this movie just reminded me of how unbelievably and unsatiably horny, like, life was going through puberty, while also in the prime of churches just telling me all sorts of things were going to send me to hell. And, like, it wasn't even two wolves. It was a wolf and a hamster. And the hamster was abstinence. And the wolf was the torment of hormones raging through my body at any given moment. We should just send kids into a room through their entire puberty and let them come out when they're ready to join society.
Yeah, we probably should. We should probably find ways societally to have a little bit more grace for teenagers. And that's really, I think, the story of this film. Less for their teachers, though, incidentally. This film does not come out great for Catholic education in terms of the director's perspective. So let's talk a little about what Alice does when she gets home. So Alice is entering an AOL chat room where they're basically like solving jumbled words of movies. And of course she gets Titanic. We're later going to learn Titanic is her favorite movie for reasons. And Alice gets a chat showing naked people making out from this guy saying, here's a pic of me and my wife. And so Alice proceeds to do something that I was very, very worried about and then laughed hysterically at. She takes a Polaroid photo of her and her friend, who is very clearly her frenemy. This is, if you watched along with us for Saved, this is clearly the Hillary of this film. She's a redhead. She's obviously the mean girl. She's obviously cool. And she folds the picture in half and sends the photo of the redheaded friend to this very clear catfish. I mean, come on. It's obvious this is a catfish. And she's feeling it. And she's feeling so much guilt because she knows all about, you know, what the school says and what church is saying. And this is always my one thing. Well, my biggest thing with religious education. If you are exposed to no viewpoints that contradict your own, I just think it's bad for your brain. I think our brains do not exactly grow in that environment.
And there's no point to. If you're like, someone says, hey, this book has all of the answers, don't worry about the contradictions and the piles of evidence that disprove it. Have fun. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Also, well, they're in the horniest time of their lives.
Yes.
I'm going to be, sometimes during these podcasts, I like to take a stance. And mine is that teenagers are very horny and we should have sympathy because they're very confused and very upset at all times.
Mm-hmm. It's not great being a teen. On Monday, Alice gets back to school and everyone's saying that she tossed the salad of Wade at her friend Laura's party over the weekend. And Alice is kind of like, dude, what the fuck? I don't even know what this means. But the rumor ends up at her teacher, who prevents her from serving at Mass. And it was very clear that she was very, very, very excited about it. And it's kind of disappointing for Alice. Like, oh, you didn't get your thing and everyone's talking about you at school. It's kind of a nightmare. High school is hell.
Is this a thing the Catholics like get pumped for? Are you guys like, yeah, let me give that Jesus body?
So the presentation of the gifts is like not necessarily super important. Like you can see that she doesn't have like the acolyte robes. Like, so she's not it is part of serving in Mass, but it's not nearly as formal. Like you don't have to do the training. It's basically just like, you know, in the churches that I've been to, you know, a nun or somebody else who's, you know, helping with the Mass will ask you beforehand, like, hey, do you want to bring the gifts up so the priest can bless them? And like, you know, it's not like super important, but it is like, it would suck, especially the way that it's framed, like that Alice was about to go up and do it. And then like in front of the whole school, it was denied to her. Like that would be traumatic for anyone in that situation.
That gave me big, like, pastor making girls leave the church because dressed too short vibes of just public humiliation for no reason.
Yeah, it was not a fun time for our girl.
I don't think Ted should have done it.
No, he should not. Especially given his online habits. Now you get to figure out if we're talking about the priest or the senator.
No, we can't just leave that Ted Cruz retweeted board.
We all know.
He didn't retweet it. He liked it. An intern allegedly liked a porn bot.
Intern.
Sure. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. The intern also put on those dirty movies when I was in middle school.
Yeah, definitely.
The intern also left my dog at home during a record-breaking snowstorm. So Alice and her. Oh, hey, are you just putting it together?
Aaron just got
Sorry,
it.
Yeah.
sorry. I was thinking what dog, and then I got it. Thank you. Slow today.
So our protagonist and her quote unquote friend, who is very clearly not her friend, are going on the retreat with their school. And Aaron, I wanted
Kirkos.
to ask you, like, is this a thing?
Yeah, I went on one of these retreats. You listeners might remember that when we did our Why We Left episode, one of these retreats is the reason that I'm no longer a Catholic, or at least in some ways helped accelerate my leaving of the church. And we'll talk about the similarities between that retreat and this this Kirkos retreat as they come up. But yeah, no, this is absolutely a thing.
Yeah, I remembered you saying that you went on one, but I wasn't sure how prevalent it was, because this was like the thing of this film. Like, most of the plot takes the course of this retreat, and it is treated as a big fucking deal.
I mean, it wouldn't be cool to go on one, like, now at least. I don't think that it would have been that cool to do it in 2000 either, but like, it was for people who are sincerely, religious, and that's fine.
Totally.
Sort of.
I do always find it very difficult in my brain to just imagine a Catholic high school where most people are on board. Just because my experience with religious people is there are 3 people on board and about 50 that are there.
I mean, that's the thing, right? When you go to any like religious school, like, at least in my experience, the vast majority of people like were Catholic, but they weren't like, the catechism is the only book you should be reading, Catholics. Like, they weren't like super strict. Like, and the people who are like very strict are the people who went on these retreats, like me, in 2013.
Cinematic parallels. So
This is actually Aaron's movie.
Man, we're gonna talk a lot about me jerking off today, huh? Great.
That's only on the the Bible Boys OnlyFans.
no, that's our Patreon.
Yes.
You can pay to listen to that one. So Alice and Laura do go on this retreat, and Alice wants to like get back in the in group, right? Like, she wants to like reaffirm her faith, whatever that looks like. And Laura wants to make friends with the popular girl. And that's pretty much Laura's character. So the popular girl is actually a retreat leader. And then Alice falls in love right away, or at least in lust. So Alice meets a popular football player named Chris. And I like that the Wikipedia describes him as friendly and enthusiastic, like he's a like golden retriever.
He really is.
Golden Retriever boys are awesome.
I feel like you're defending himbos again.
I will always defend himbos.
What I liked about this scene in particular, where she falls in love with Chris, is they play Gwen Stefani's Genie in a Bottle, which is really, really good.
Do you think Gwen Stefani sings Genie in a Bottle?
Uh-oh. Does she not?
As your friend, oh, no, it's Christina Aguilera, babe.
Fuck, you're right. No, fucked it up.
Oh, this is such a good cast already.
No, it's not. How stupid is Aaron today? Oh, God.
This is our most chaotic one, which is amazing, because I thought last week would be our most chaotic one.
Last week was really unhinged, and we're coming off strong, boys.
Yeah.
All right, so she likes this golden retriever boy, and she wants to be his e-girlfriend.
Yes, and they play Genie in a Bottle. And Alice gets
by Nikki Minaj.
Alice gets her watch taken away, and Nina asks her for her cell phone. And okay, I had to write this quote or type this quote in my notes. You don't need a watch this weekend because you're on Jesus's time. If someone said that to me, like even as a teenager who like was a practicing Christian, like active Bible reader, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
So while I was watching this movie, I was like, I'm going to have to make some parallels. So I went to the Peoria, Illinois Teens Encounter Christ page, and just to like compare it to this movie. And I was like, okay, I wonder what they say about cell phone usage in Peoria TEC. And it does say, we ask that you leave all watches, cell phones, pagers, MP3 players, cameras, and tablets at home. You will find that there really isn't much time to use the aforementioned items. These tend to create a distraction to the enjoyment of the weekend. It would like you to avoid the worry of having those often expensive items turn up missing. So, yeah, again, they want you to be separated from your technology, even watches.
So wild to me, but then again, that's what our church camp growing up also asked, so...
Yeah, and if you were caught with a cell phone on there, it was like, how fucking dare you?
Yeah, it was like you brought in vodka or something.
They were cool with me having a watch, though. I was also 8.
Yeah, I mean...
I did sneak porn in through the watch, of course, though.
I mean, I guess you could do that now with, like, smartwatches, which is very funny.
That is really funny.
Although I don't know how you would watch pornography on a smartwatch. You just have to be like really put your face really close to your wrist. Like, is this doing it for me? I don't know.
We got that's why the people wear it underneath of their arm.
So you can just casually watch porn during meetings, just like, oh yeah. That's apparently what I think what people who watch porn sound like.
I mean, every time I go onto a naughty website, I just suddenly
turn into the Kool-Aid Man
and kick down a door and go, oh yeah.
Well, Alice has a more creative way to use her phone. She uses it as a vibrator and literally is masturbating while Jesus is watching on the crucifix. And I love that there's this very, 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 very clear imagery about Jesus literally watching her. The next day, Alice fakes an injury, and she does that so she can get close to Chris and his sexy arm hair. No, I'm not kidding. I love how they show, like, the awkward adolescent sexuality, and, like, I just think it's a real... You could tell this is someone who, like, went through the awkward days in a very, very strict Catholic school. And, Alice gets her phone confiscated, and as punishment, Father Murphy assigns Alice to cleaning duties. And of course, promptly when she's alone, she logs into another AOL chat room, and she also goes to Yahoo to ask what tossing a salad is.
This is my favorite because there's a part where she's talking to this, cyber person, and they're like, I'll show you what tossing a salad is. And then they cyber sex, and then he's like, I put my fat hot dog between your buns. And she's like, excuse me? And he's like, I'm Italian American. Salad comes after the main course. And I was like, I have to go. I can't handle this.
It's so good. That, friends, is a preview for our sausage party episode.
No, I'm not going to be there. I will be out of the country.
The Green Boys talk about this dirty child's animated movie.
It is not for children. Alice hears footsteps. She feels like, oh my god, I'm being caught. She shuts off the computer. She leaves. But she doesn't completely shut down the computer. She just, quickly presses the power button, doesn't actually allow the full thing to shut down, and that is important for later.
If I was her, I would have just caved in the computer. Just kicked the ever-loving shit out of it.
I mean, it is kind of Chekhov's computer, so it has very important parts to the plot. So Alice runs into Nina, who is, joking with Alice. Kind of joking, but kind of, real mean nasty about her tossing Wade salad, which, again, poor Alice doesn't even know what it means. She
didn't even get her talus sauce. Whoa.
Wow.
I'm not editing that one out. I'm keeping that one in.
Yeah, she didn't get her sauce talent. She did it to someone else. She didn't get the pleasure of the rumor of it happening to her.
Nope.
The way that it's framed is really funny because they're like, oh, we made you s'mores. We were all doing that. We pretended each marshmallow was a mortal sin. Yours was lust. I was like, all right, rude.
It makes me so mad. I feel so bad for Alice, and I'm so mad at how other teenagers tormented her.
They really picked a very great actress for her, and it's
Natalia Dyer
Natalie. Oh yeah,
from
yeah.
Stranger Things.
Because her face always looks upset and shocked. I've never seen her look happy. Every instance is just her being like,
Yeah, I think she is wonderful at emoting and just is so believable as a high schooler, which is rare for people in their 20s. So, day 3 of the retreat, Father Murphy announces his discovery that someone was using his computer. And of course, no one owns up. And he actually later during confession, pushes Alice to confess for tossing Wade's salad and doesn't believe her when she says nothing. It's like, dude, you're threatening her with like eternal hell and she's still not owning up to it. Maybe it just didn't happen. And I hate this for her and I think it's actually super realistic, right? That everyone believes the rumor. No one believes Alice. Everyone's like, nope, absolutely not. Gratefully, Alice then actually confronts Wade and is like, dude, this didn't happen. He's like, no, it didn't. And she's like, okay, have you said that to anyone? And of course, he did not. He has not denied it at all. He doesn't apologize. It gets broken up by Father Murphy, who walks in and says that I think he wants to talk to Wade, or he just kind of rolls up.
Well, what he does, he's like, oh, how is your shot put arm? Which suggests that the Father Murphy is like a track coach or something. So, like, of course, Father Murphy's not going to have any sort of, negative feelings towards Wade because he's like his star shot putter or whatever. And, like, it just shows that, like, we don't talk too much about feminism necessarily in this movie, but it is, a theme in our podcast about how women get constantly screwed over. And this is just one of those examples.
Yeah.
It's really weighing on me, the decision to make the rumor that a salad was tossed. Specifically because that's such a... like it was definitely picked because it's the funniest of the phrases, right?
Yes.
And it was picked because they're high schoolers.
Well, yeah. But, like, because it's just so funny to imagine, like, a dude bragging about that in, like, my high school. Just, like, a dude bro being like, man, you know what was awesome? Massage the prostate. You gotta try it.
That's an excellent point. That's not really something you can, like, bring home to your guys. Like, yeah, bro, she got her tongue up in my rectum and everything.
You gotta get her to get knuckle deep. Real men get pegged.
Well, speaking of awkward encounters, Alice catches Nina in the act of giving another senior leader a blowjob in the woods. And Alice then tells her friend, Laura, and Laura's like, no, what's wrong with you? You're the one who broke into Father Murphy's office. And it's like, okay, yeah, she's not wrong there. But then she calls her a pervy psycho. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Because she rewound Titanic 3 times to watch the sex scene over?
Yeah, Laura sucks. I think, easily the most hated character in this movie besides maybe Father Murphy. Actually, Wade sucks too. There's a lot of shitty people in this movie, but Laura, especially in this instance, you can see is like, oh yeah, like if it wasn't obvious already, Laura's like awful.
Yeah, and I kind of think it is in the same vein, right? Like I could tell this was a film directed by a woman because it's in the same vein of Jennifer's Body with Jennifer and Needy, where there's that fine line between like friendship and admiration and like obsession and lusting, right? Like there's a very fine line, and I feel like teenagers especially really walk that line, and you can really read this as Nina walking that line, or rather Laura walking that line with Nina. And, I feel for Alice because Laura's kind of the only consistent friend, and she's like not that great of a friend. This is the kind of friend you have in high school, right? Like it's not, I actually have a couple of people in my life, one that I made in high school.
I made direct eye contact with Michael's soul there.
I was counting. I was like, one. But, most of the friends you make in high school are kind of surface level. They're like situational, and that's fine. And you can tell this is one of those surface level friendships.
It's like the friends you make with coworkers. It's very rare that one of them is going to stick around forever. But instead of like coworkers where you're like a mature adult, you're going through the worst time in nature.
Yeah, your trauma is bonding you. And speaking of trauma, that's perfect for this next scene. So Alice is back in Father Murphy's office, and she dropped in the bracelet that Wade had earlier in the film with his girlfriend's name on it, whose name is escaping me right now. I want to say Heather.
Yes.
I think her name is just Wade's girlfriend.
Nah, she's Heather. All the women have names. The boys, hit or miss. So she plants that there to frame him for the break-in, and I think this is his just desserts here. I think he deserves it. And then Alice feels she hears someone coming in. She hides.
Her spider sense is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, she's
just hears like, they're coming. It just felt like I was watching The Quiet Place.
I mean, when you are like sneaking around doing something you're not, like, you are on high alert. I truly believe that. Like, you could hear someone walking in from like 3 houses over, and you could tell
that you took the high school course on stealing. Theft 101.
It's the high school course on gay hearing, actually.
Gays do hear a different frequency.
Mm-hmm. We hear everything or nothing at all, depending on what mood we're in. Well, Father Murphy is not on there to lesson plan. No, he is on there to watch porn. So she catches Father Murphy masturbating to porn. You know, that same man who told her that sex was only for procreation, and famously, priests procreate.
I bet Jerry Falwell loves this scene.
I'm leaving.
You don't think he likes it?
I'm leaving the silence there.
Josh, you're the cuck man. You know that's his thing. He doesn't like it when he's just watching porn. It has to be somebody else having sex with his partner specifically.
No, he wants to watch in a closet. That's his deepest desire.
No,
he wants to watch.
I don't think
he
it
just
fits.
wants to. He wants to be.
Take it back to the workshop, bud.
Yeah.
All right.
That one's not done cooking. I hate to tell you.
I'll do a lap.
So
walk it off.
Alice then runs into Chris, and she kisses him. And okay, I've been flicking back and forth between my own notes and Wikipedia and filling in my blanks. And I love what the Wikipedia says. He becomes overwhelmed and runs away. No, he does not. The dude gets a boner, gets very uncomfortable, says, "You know I'm a microwave," and runs away. And that's because Father Murphy famously called men microwaves.
I want to touch on that. Did you all get that lecture?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I don't know why that's such a common metaphor, but it's just like, men, they they're like an electric kettle. They cook. They turn on real fast, but women are just like an old stew pot. You gotta really, really wait and work and hope and pray. And
I feel like
women are like a concrete tunnel, just kind of there.
I love old stew pot because it's kind of like the straight couples that hate each other. Like, that's what your like 45-year-old coworker who hates his wife calls her. Old stew pot over there.
Oh man, the old stew pot. I gotta go sit next to her in silence tonight.
The old George Foreman.
I know it goes without saying that we all absolutely hate these metaphors. Going beyond the like real pervy and sexist nature of it. Also, not all dudes are microwaves. It should go without saying. Some ladies are microwaves. No one's any appliance. Stop. Everyone stop.
Yeah, I'm way more team no one's an appliance. And I think it also ends up, this is like one of the really like low-key dangerous things about how fundamentalists talk about this sort of thing, where it excuses men's bad behavior because they're microwaves, right? They just heat up so fast. And then also shames women if they do, right? Like it is then not feminine to be sexual. So Alice is hearing this message that the fact that she is a hormonal teenager is just like the worst thing. This is like a cardinal sin. She might as well have murdered someone.
And it's reinforced with like imagery throughout the movie. Like there's a couple times where she's like watching or like, you know, watching something that makes her aroused, and then she like looks over and there's like a microwave in the background and she feels bad about it, which is impressive.
Yeah, this film was like quietly smart in that way, where there's a lot of imagery that actually is in the background doing the work rather than like, here is our sign.
What is the worst sex metaphor that you guys heard growing up? Mine was definitely that your virginity is like tape. And if you stick it, like every time you have sex, you stick it onto someone so it loses its grip. So guys, you don't want someone that's stuck to 8 other people because it just won't stick to you.
That is a wild metaphor.
It's wild. Yeah.
I've got mine.
So mine is one I actually learned from working in STD surveillance for our local government, but it's fuck of death, which I had to look up what that means. It means when you have sex with somebody who is HIV positive, and like you contract HIV, which is
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't think people
Wow.
actually say that, but it was in our STD slang handbook.
I thought that was going to be a cool Swedish metal band.
No.
It probably is.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the worst one I ever got was from a Christian group I was in high school when I was trying to pray away the gay. And the pastor made this comparison where he gave out a piece of paper that was shaped like a heart and told people to like rip it every time they had had sex. And that basically every time you have sex, you're giving a piece of that to someone else. And you have nothing left for God.
In the most literal sense, some dudes do leave a little something behind, but like it regenerates, like the heart regrows.
This was not directed at the men. It will shock you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alice is at this campfire. I put in my notes, there's no way Alice isn't an atheist by now, because I would have been so burnt out. And like, honestly, a large reason I stopped going to church, like before I even like stopped being a Christian, is because how shitty other Christians were to me. And like, that's Alice's experience. The other Christians in this film are awful to her. And I was
They just suck.
Yeah, like they judge her, they shame her. So Alice
I
runs
want to
away.
say, I understand why Alice runs away in the scene, because they are just making a travesty of one of my favorite songs, which is City of God, and that's a fucking club banger, and I don't know why they made all the teens sing it really bad. A bunch of fucking 80-year-olds could do it in mass every Sunday. They would absolutely crush City of God. I'm so mad they did a bad cover.
It's amazing. Unfortunately, I don't think it's the music taste that sent Alice away, but I was very worried she was going to get murdered. She did not. She actually walks up to a lesbian bar and she orders a wine cooler at the bar, which I think is really fucking funny. Also, she's wearing the sweater from the camp that they're at. And she talks to this woman at the bar. Her name is Gina. And so Gina says that she used to be Catholic, but you know, the whole gay thing really made that hard to stick. And same.
How many people a week do you think Gina gets there from that exact organization?
Oh, every
Like,
weekend
you think-
at least once.
Well, there's a whole scene, right, where the bartender looks over at the bar owner, Gina, and she's like, because Alice is like, one wine cooler, please. It is clearly like a 16-year-old, and then she just looks to Gina, and Gina's like, yeah, she just like nods, and then she gives her a wine cooler. So there's like an established pattern of like, okay, we give them one low density drink, and then we'll take them home.
Yeah. And I love her talk with Gina, and Alice is for once kind of honest with Gina about how the whole fear of going to hell can really just fuck with teenagers. And Gina experienced this too as a queer person. And Alice is like, oh my God, I thought I was going to hell because I rewound Titanic 3 times. And I just love this. And Gina eventually does take Alice back to the retreat. And she tells Alice, hey, you should look for a college on the coast. Get out of Iowa, go to one of the coasts. You'll be better off. Alice is like, I was thinking about going to state, but, whatever, I'll think about it. And finally asks the $1 million question. What does tossing a salad mean? And finally she gets an answer.
I hate how the Wikipedia says it. I hate it so much.
What does it say? I have my own.
It just says Gina consoles Alice and gives her a ride back to the retreat. Finally, assuaging Alice's curiosity about what tossing the salad means. And I read that like they fucking hooked up, and I hate that they couldn't have just said,
that's a charged statement.
Yeah, that is not at all what happened. It is interesting. So I think the character Alice is kind of queer coded. And I think some of this is even like a very, our people see each other vibes, where you get a sense of, Alice has displayed an attraction for men, but I don't think there's anything that has said she's a heterosexual. And this interaction with Gina makes me think, no, she's definitely not. Because when Gina is recommending she goes on the coast, one of the reasons Gina says that she left were her summers in San Francisco. And I just feel that really like, we see our own and are like, please go have fun, experience life. Like, it is the advice I would give a 16-year-old that I was like, I can clock you. I'd be like, leave the house, go to college, San Francisco, New York, even DC. Get out of there.
It's the classic elder gay finding a baby gay and going, here's some advice.
Alice actually befriends a new classmate on the last day of the retreat. They sit together, and this classmate is kind of awkward, kind of, an outcast, but Alice is nice to her, and I love her. She's so sweet. She's one of the girls I would have come out to in high school.
And that wouldn't have called you a slur.
None of them called me slurs. Most of them just said they'd pray for me.
Great.
You decide which one's worse. So Father Murphy pulls Wade aside to talk to him. And Laura apologizes to Alice. And they end the retreat with a group sharing session. And Alice gives this very pro-honesty, anti-guilt speech. And I felt for her. I was like, oh, girl, you're at a Catholic retreat camp. I don't know how well that anti-guilt thing is going to work for you. And
that will destroy the Vatican.
And
it's
she's
built
like,
upon guilt.
everyone is like dealing with their own shit. And of course that goes over very well. And I just feel so much because Alice is like, we should treat people with respect like Jesus wanted. I don't think she won over anyone there, but that's okay because Alice definitely gets a happier ending. So back at church, she seems kind of over it. She seems kind of out of like, not quite as into it. And she was talking to her dad and saying, hey, who's going to go to church with you when I go to college? And he's like, what? It's 2 years from now. She very clearly reminds him, year and a half. And I think it's pretty obvious she's going to go to school somewhere on the coast. She's going to find something much better. And Alice also reassures Chris that they can be friends. And, you know, she's not going to make out with him. He gives her a side hug, which I think is really, 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 really funny. And then Alice gets her next confession with Father Murphy, in which she says that she saw a video of people having sex. And she describes the video that he was watching. And he is shocked. His jaw is on the floor. He's like, holy shit. He assigns her 100 prayers. And instead, Alice goes home and participates in her own religious experience. She rewatches and masturbates to the sex scene in Titanic. And my last note, iconic, legendary.
We are pro-jerking it on this podcast, I would say.
Bible boys just said, go out, get you some you.
That's right.
So what did you all think about this?
This was fucking wild. I was expecting, what was it, Saved? What was the other one before?
Yeah.
Similar vibes. I was not disappointed. Very similar energy. Overall, I thought it was pretty funny. And I think a lot of the reason why I found it funny was it dealt with a lot of stuff that I felt growing up, but didn't want to talk about because there was no outlet to have this discussion. And if I found this in high school, I think I would have felt better about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I liked this movie. I thought it was really funny, and 78 minutes, extremely short for what we normally have to do. So I was very excited about this. One thing, so there's a couple things actually. One is that I am a big baby and I can't handle tension. So there were some scenes when she was in the computer room, I was like, I can't watch this because I'm so worried for her. And the tone shifts are very dramatic because it's overall a funny movie, but there are some character scenes that I was just like, oh, this is devastating. And one thing that I struck me as a little odd is that there is some stuff here. Now, Michael, you said that the director was in Catholic school for 15 years. That I was like, wow, this seems actually a lot more evangelical than my experience, but maybe she just went to a much more conservative school than I did. But the stuff about sharing the letters in public or coming up and talking about their experience after being moved by the Spirit, that seems much more Protestant evangelical things to me. Catholicism, in my experience, is always not exactly about sharing your feelings. Maybe it's the specific German Catholicism that took root in my hometown, but it's much more keep it to yourself and don't have public displays of emotion or faith. But there were I said, there was some stuff in here that I thought was dead on. Right, I was actually you might notice that I didn't talk for about 5 minutes earlier in the podcast. And that's also because I was looking up the old curriculum for my school, my high school. And I was like, she took a morality class. I took apologetics, but I don't think I took morality, did I? And the answer is I did. My high school still does morality. It's called morality and happiness, actually. Yeah.
How is that worse?
It's fucked up. And the reason I don't remember taking that is because the year that I had to take that was the year we implemented laptops in our school, and I played Spore during that class. So,
but Aaron, I thought we were going to a slightly different line when you said the school gave you guys laptops while you were in morality class.
Listen, I guarantee you some people cranked it during morality class. Listen, they had the first month that those laptops were implemented, there were already people just oh yeah, I can just give you a way to bypass the firewall. It was super easy.
Yeah, they gave our school right when I left, they're introducing tablets, and the beauty of how some of these students could have gotten into college with the amount of work they put into getting around the firewall to look at boobies. Beautiful. Teens, if we could somehow harness horny power and
it's called Silicon Valley. We already do.
Just Monsters Inc. style
for energy.
But yeah, this was a good pick. Thank you to both Jeff and Michael.
I thought it was a fun one. I don't have a ton of fun facts other than this is our director Karen Main's directorial debut. I am so excited to see more from her. She's already a screenwriter, and I am just desperate to watch something else of hers, because this was biting, but also satirical and hilarious. I'm just very here for that. So, Karen Main, I hope to see you, not that you're ever going to listen to this podcast, but maybe you will. You went to Catholic school for 15 years. You're our target demo. I want to see more from you. Apparently she does have a new movie coming out, which is exciting.
Ooh.
She's going to be directing a rom-com called Misconception, which I'm sold.
Ooh.
I'm sold.
Well, we might have Michael's new pick in a couple months.
Yeah, whenever this comes out. I mean, all right. So what are your all's reviews?
I'm going to give it 1 defrost setting on my microwave.
I'm going to give it the 8th station, Jesus Meets the Women of Jerusalem, just because I thought there were a lot of very interesting and complex women characters in this film, and it was nice to meet all of them.
I am going...
They were very neat.
I mean, they were.
They were neat.
I am going to give this film 5 out of 5 rewound Titanic scenes, because that was a lot of work in 2000, and kudos to you.
All right, boys. I believe it is my turn because I didn't have one last time, so Michael took the reins for that one. I have one. It's very long, so you can veto it.
How long are we talking? Because if you're saying it's very long...
It is 161 minutes, which if you do the math is almost 3 hours. So you can veto it. It is the movie Silence. It's the Martin Scorsese movie. I really, really like it. It's the one where Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver go rescue Liam Neeson.
I've actually seen that movie.
It is one of my favorite movies.
This is a me pick.
Yeah. This is highbrow.
Oh, this looks super interesting. Yeah, no, I think we should. Yeah, I'm down.
I am totally down. I think it's hilarious that I picked like a goofy comedy and you picked like
about masturbation.
Yeah, and you're picking like a serious historical drama that's like very thought-provoking.
We're all
topsy-turvy. Well, this just gives me an opportunity to talk about my favorite things, which are history and mocking Liam Neeson.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing this time with me again. I think this was a good one. Crushed it.
Don't forget to read us out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a thing to say.
Runtime. As we weep about the runtime of the next movie.
Thank you. Okay, like Josh says, as we weep about the runtime of the next movie, don't forget that it is okay to cry, because even Jesus wept. We'll see you all next time.
Nailed it!
Crushed it. Thank you, Josh. I was in a